inspired by what you're doing on the social media because you see a lot of these, no offense to them, frauds.
Yeah.
They show all their successes, they hype it up, this and that, but like they don't show the grind and the nitty gritty
Right.
of putting in that work on a daily basis. And you've done that since day one.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Justin Rodriguez, your favorite lender here in Neighborhood Loans, and we're back with another episode of Cafecito Talks. And today, you're gonna join me as a part of a person who's been in my journey since day one. One of my referral partners. He's been in the industry since the first day that I started, and I love these episodes because again, it's like memory lane. You go back to the first day of when we started in the business, and you can kind of see how we've grown and scaled each and every single day. And it's important for everyone that's watching for you guys to understand that everything we've done, you guys are able to accomplish as well. But it all starts from you taking the steps and journeys that we're going to discuss right now. So I'm super proud to announce Mike Tier with Country Financial. He is one of their top dogs in their company, and he has built and grown his business every single year. So I'm super proud to announce, Mike, thank you so much for joining. Appreciate it.
No, it's a
Top
pleasure
dog.
to be here, man. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. I've been seeing your podcast, man. It's been growing. It's really cool to see what you're doing over here, man. So pleasure to be here.
Thank you, boss. Thank you. And again, I appreciate you for coming out because I think in the beginning of the industry, beginning of time, I've seen you like slowly scale, growing with a lot of bunch of your different team members. And again, it makes me feel kind of appreciative of the journey because I've personally loved the journey, every step of it, and I have definitely seen your growth. So give us a little background. I like to tell people, everyone that's been in this industry usually doesn't just like, hey, I want to be an insurance agent one day, or hey, I want to be a loan officer, or hey, I want to be a realtor. It's you kind of stumble upon the business.
Yeah.
So how did you get into the business?
It's honestly pretty crazy. Like, I started off in college, typical route. Everyone says, go through college, become successful, do what everyone else is doing. And it's a very similar thing. So when you get in type of the industry that we were in, you kind of have to go through trial and tribulations. Some people are born with it and they just take off, but a lot of people, they go through some type of negative impact that really pushes them to be able to be the beast in the industry that they are. And in college, I ended up getting kicked out, and I had to go through like a little bit of, like I said, trial and tribulations. I fought my way back in, and once I went through that, I realized that, man, you can do anything you want. You just got to put your mind through it. And now anytime I see a challenge, I just I'm excited. I'm excited, just like you said, the journey. It's not always about the outcome. It's the journey to get there. So after we got through college with the insurance and finance degree, we were applying different places. I was thinking more finance at first. I like numbers. I'm more of an analytical person. And I realized I was just going to be like a paper pusher for a while at these hedge funds and these financial institutions. And I kind of want to have more autonomy over operations and strategic decisions in the company. So Country Financial reached out to me and told me to create a business plan. And I was like, that was step one. I'm like, it just like, it immediately made me so happy just to even create that. The fact that they were pushing me to create the business plan, I'm like, this is what I wanted. This is what I've always wanted. So created the business plan, and like the rest was history.
Yeah.
And I was very grateful for the opportunity. And Country was actually going through a lot of different changes in their side too. They were really kind of more of a life and health kind of company,
Yeah.
life insurance and stuff like that. And they were transitioning to P&C, which is property, casualty, home and auto and business.
Yeah.
And it just so happens to align at the right time.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful, very blessed for the opportunity. And yeah, man, we scaled, and now that's probably the number one challenge I'm facing right now is just finding good people that have that same mindset to bring onto the team, like-minded individuals that are also here for the journey, team collaboration. And yeah, man, it's been a journey.
And it's hard, bro. It's really hard to be able to take a business, your baby that you've grown and scaled every single day. And the more that you go into your business, you realize how scarce time is, right? Like you go through the day-to-day, you figure out how to get into and complete as many tasks as you possibly can. But then you get to a certain point where you're like hitting this roadblock where you're like, holy fuck, everything is 30-minute increments now. Now you're like, how do I actually get through every second of my day, getting through everything, and then hopefully getting other team members to be able to leverage your own time, because ultimately you still want to grow and get more business yourself, and you know that that's what you have to do on a daily basis. So that's why the team members are so important, because they help you leverage little more time in your day, so that way you can kind of wiggle your way out and go get more business, which is what you're good at. But one of the main things that you kind of spoke about in the beginning was the trials and tribulations helped you grow into the man that you are in the business. And I love that, because I think a lot of people need to understand and recognize that those things, you have to choose who your enemies are very wisely, and choose the things that you want as fuel. And sometimes people take negative life experiences and they turn that into something to where they take a step back and they're like, all right, well, now I'm going to feel down. I'm going to use that and not bring my life in a worse place. And honestly, it's almost like two negatives. Something negative happens and then everything else negative happens because you chose to take this energy and put it in a negative way. But if you flip it and use it as fuel to be able to drive and help you engage in your business even more, it helps you grow and scale even more. So how did those negative experiences, how did you let it drive you to the point of business that you're at right now? And do you have any experiences in your life that you kind of use currently right now when you're growing your business and scaling to help drive you and fuel you to continue to scale your business?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. And yeah, honestly, they say like a lot of times, Tom Brady said it best, they ask him like, oh, which Super Bowl do you remember the most out of all your wins? He goes, I don't remember the wins, man. I remember the losses, the two losses that I had in the Super Bowls, and you learn from them. And so you can take it in a negative way, or you can take that negativity, turn it into something, and grow from it and learn from those experiences. And so, like I said, when I first started, I had this goal in mind that my future self knew what I needed to do. And to be able to live up to that future self, like every single challenge that's going to be in my way, I needed to conquer that. So it's really huge. So anytime I'm facing an obstacle, like I just hired another production person on my team, and in the first couple months, our numbers actually took a hit. It was actually like a negative impact at first, and the reason why is because there is a learning curve, and to be able to get everyone on the same page and collaborate. Sometimes we're not in office every single day, so being able to use technology, using the proper CRM systems, and so I just kept collaborating with my team, had monthly, weekly meetings, going through how we did last week, how we're gonna prepare for the next week forward, and after 2 months we started hitting record numbers. So
Nice.
I use data. Data is really strong, and data is a very good thing to use in business. And otherwise, you're kind of just going in blind. So
Yeah.
using that data, learning from your mistakes, learning from, hey, where did we have our pitfalls? How can we learn from those deals that maybe didn't go our way? Maybe they fell through, and how do we capitalize moving forward? So using the data, going through our errors, maybe things that maybe just didn't go our way, and then learning from them and taking them into the next deal, to the next client, to better prepare them, better guide them. And take them forward through the home buying process. So, I would say every time you bring on a new member, it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve there. But don't just give up. Just keep pushing forward. And as long as they're dedicated, as you're dedicated, you got to lead. I don't know if you've seen that meme where like there's a guy in the back that's like yelling at his team members, and that's the boss, or you have the leader who's in the front, facing bringing people head on.
Yeah.
And that's really what it comes down to. And you got to build that team morale, show that you should be the first one in and the last one out.
Right.
And the people will follow that. Your team will follow that. They'll see
100%.
how dedicated you are. And no, that's huge, man. It really is.
Yeah, I lead by example. I think that part of the reason why I started social media, like posting me going to the gym, is for every person to see I make it to the fucking gym every day. That's like my precedent. I want people to recognize I'm going every single day. Outside of that, I come to the office every single day. My team members see that. I wake up at 5 in the morning. I go and I leave. I'm probably one of the last people to leave, if not the last person. And I want to see people that I do that every single day, so people can kind of see all I'm doing is just being disciplined. And it's like a compound. It's true what they say even about investing, compound interest. It's the same thing when it comes to business. Every day, if you're compounding, you're getting 1% better. At a certain point, it's like a snowball that keeps rolling down a mountain, and it keeps expanding to a point where you're like, oh shit, that snowball hits a wall, and then you have to add another team member because the snowball's too big. That room can't fill, is filled with this snowball, so you have to be able to get it a bigger room. And that's the best analogy that I could put forth when you're getting team members. But it is really hard to onboard someone to be able to help grow the team and expand, because ultimately you're in your own mind, you're never going to feel as if no one could do it the way you do it, because you know you could do it 2 seconds, boom, 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 get in, get out, get in, get out. But it does take time to train people, get people acclimated, and get them running into your business. But it's interesting what you said about Tom Brady. You know, you don't remember the wins, right? You're going to remember the losses, or you're going to remember those moments that really drive you and can continue to propel you to be able to grow. And I think that that's super important, because that's so true. In my business, right, I can pinpoint the times that someone said that a certain level of production was not possible. Or I remember a recent conversation I had with a CPA where he said, I never heard of neighborhood loans, and I've never heard of you guys, and he told the client straight up, I could refer you to other banks and things that I have used and I trust while I'm on the phone with the client and him. And little things like that, I'm like, motherfucker, I'm going to make sure that everybody, you especially, knows my name. And everybody in Chicago is going to know my name, and you're going to remember this phone call conversation so you can remember me. And the first thing that I could kind of like pinpoint towards is like Ryan Serhants of the world. These people that have grown and scaled their business, where people recognize them simply through social media. So little things like social media. And you scale it to the point where people are recognizing your name. That's the goal, where I foresee, all because of someone saying something negative. But it fuels me. I wake up in the morning, it's like, this motherfucker's going to remember my name. I know he's going to know. And those are the things where it turns into fuel, and I want people to kind of see that portion of it. It's like, yeah, I hit my goal last year, but this person did this, and it fuels me to continue to grow and scale. So I think one thing I want for people to understand, though, the why is really important, and I know my why. And that fuel just kind of continues to let it go. But what is something that wakes you up every single day to be able to keep going? Because some people might say, hey, look, bro, you're hitting your goals. You're hitting the measures that you're doing every single year. Like, take a step off. Go to vacation. Go do something. What wakes you up to be like, nah, I want to continue to do more. I want to continue to scale. What drives you every single day?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm at the point right now where I understand that your why can kind of shift through time. Mm-hmm. Your why wants to, your why should be driving you to become a better person every day. And, that's the goal of your why. And as you grow, you are a different person. You're a different version of yourself. And so as long as your why is impacting you in a positive way, that's the most important thing. And once it's kind of no longer serving its purpose, then you really got to dig deeper and kind of do some reflection and introspection on what is the bigger goal here. And my why used to, when I was really young, I said, I was working for my family business, mowing grass, and I was making like $8 an hour. And I'm seeing all these guys, drive up in nice cars, nice boats, and I'm like, man, like I can create more value. It's all about value, and how can I create more value for society? Like I want to be valuable to, the everyday people. And with that, I will be able to, drive the nicer cars, be in the nicer boats, and go on vacations. I went on a couple crazy vacations with my father that he saved up a lot of money for, and that was driving me to get to where I am today. Now I'm kind of going for generational type of a mentality to where, we could really set up the next 2 to 3 generations where they can kind of go towards what they want to do in life rather than, just to make ends meet, whether that goal is to become the best painter in the world or create the best music or, become the best financial advisor possible. Whatever that is, I want to be able to give them that opportunity. Whether it's my grandchildren, my son, my great-grandchildren, whatever that is. That's now my why is the generational wealth and prosperity, to be honest. That's where we're at right now.
How do you foresee yourself getting there?
That is a great question as well. You're good with the questions. So now I'm all about collaboration and innovation. Right. So I've realized, and this is a lot of people say this a lot, you can go go fast by yourself. You can go farther with a team. And so, 100% of something small is less than 50% of something big.
Right.
So now I'm trying to create business models that kind of have everyone involved and everyone has this common goal together. And with that, when you have a lot of like-minded people, a lot of driven people working towards the same goal, man, that's a lot of momentum, and that's going to be really hard to beat when you're a competitor.
100%.
And so that's where I'm at right now. Is I'm creating the next level is going to be some business models and some businesses that are in real estate but have a lot of people's interest in mind, and you will be involved on that. If you're welcome to. I was actually gonna bring that up pretty soon here in the next couple months. So very excited for that, and that's gonna be coming very soon.
No, I'm excited, bro. I think that there's definitely a lot of growth and like you said, a lot of momentum when you have individuals who are very hungry, driven, looking to just become the best version of themselves. It's naturally going to grow without you having to do anything. And I think when it comes to generational wealth, that's also really important because, I think when you're trying to grow a business and help growing your family is almost in the back of your mind, like, okay, how can I grow and scale this to the point to where my family can be taken care of for the rest of the time? And now you start thinking and you're like, damn, I'm so fucking far away. But we do this on a daily basis that when you look at it, you're like, all right, I kind of see where this person's at. I'm farther than what the average person is, but I don't want to just be farther. I want to like ram through a
That's
wall.
A daily battle. That's a daily battle.
I want to freaking do this. I want to do that. And I think that's the one thing that I love about our generation, and it's a blessing and a curse, where you have social media, you have access to other people's accomplishments. That's almost like it belittles the things that you're doing right now, because at the same time you see these people who are our age doing the things that we have the ability of doing. So it almost, in a way, you're sitting there like, damn, am I doing enough?
Yeah.
And I think those who have that mentality, that kind of like that humbling mentality that keeps you driven, keeps you hungry, will always be able to scale more than the person who is complacent, which is why I think that it's almost a blessing and a curse that we have social media, because it does kind of take away from the fact of the things that you're doing right now. But at the same time, I think that that's the reason why a lot of big individuals in our industry fall, is because they almost feel as if they're too big to fail. They don't have the drive to continue to go, even when other individuals might be like, hey, bro, you're doing good. Just take a step back. You're good. Like, just, it's okay. You're good. Even your family, friends, you're good.
It's
just
very
relax.
important to have those people around. And
right.
I think that's why I'm really, really inspired by what you're doing on the social media, because you see a lot of these, no offense to them, frauds.
Yeah.
They show all their successes. They hype it up, this and that, but like they don't show the grind and the nitty gritty of putting in that work on a daily basis. And you've done that since day one. People think that, oh yeah, successful people get lucky. Lucky is where opportunity meets preparation.
Right.
So, when you're showing and showcasing everything that you're doing to get to where you are right now, and that is exactly what's going to take you to the next level, is by putting in that daily, that daily work. Waking up early, getting after it, beating out everyone else that's sleeping. By the time you're done with your workouts, ready on the next file, they're just waking up, getting breakfast. So
right.
I do appreciate you showing that and being authentic, because authenticity is going to be the long game. People will figure out like who's actually doing things and who are like faking it. And time will tell who the authentic people are. And honestly, like, that's why I love your content. It motivates me. And I have a lot of people that also appreciate the gym pictures, man. They're like, man, I was 20 pounds overweight.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with real estate, but it rebounds into so many other levels. Maybe this guy's a tax accountant who wants to start his own firm.
Right.
I'm motivating him to get to the gym because it's mind, body, and spirit. Get everything on the same level. And so, I have people reach out to me all the time just about the gym, like, hey man, you motivated me to get in the gym. It's all about trying to inspire people and to motivate people to get to the next level. So I do appreciate
100%,
your stuff motivates me too. Some days, I'm not feeling the best. We all have our ups and downs. Some days I'm super high. Everything's working. Everything's like just unbelievably, you can't even believe it. It's like you go to bed and you're like, everything worked today.
Yeah.
Then the next day, The exact opposite.
Yeah.
Everything's crashing, everything's falling. Maybe you don't want to go to the gym. Boom, hop on. But with Justin Rodriguez, he's at the gym, he's grinding, so it doesn't stop. There's good days and bad days, and to showcase those good and bad days and just keep pushing forward on a daily basis. You know, it really is.
I agree, and I got a quick story that is one of those moments where it's like that's why your network is going to be really important. The room that you sit in is going to be the one thing that could determine how far you go in life. And people tell you that, and it's cliche as fuck, but it is so true because I remember the first instance I was in the industry, I still have this card in my wallet to this day. And what this card is it was like a core event that everybody came in, and I'm like, you know, in a room full of individuals who are within loan officers, realtors, all these people that are in the business. And the guys on stage is like, this little card, it's a big, hairy, audacious goal. Write down how much money you want to make. And at this time, I was making minimum wage, and I'm like, all right, I want to make 6 figures. That's like my fucking dream. I want to make 6 figures. That's where I'm going to get hit at one point. And immediately the guy comes up, and he says, raise your hand if you want to make $1 million this year. Bro, like 3/4 of the room stood up. And I was like, I'm just trying to make fucking 6 figures. Everybody here's been $1 million. It made me feel like, I was like, holy shit, I'm nothing. I'm literally like a little peon to these people.
Yeah.
And so you look at it, and I'm like, maybe my goal is too small. And so my mind is already like, okay, trying to calculate how much production you have to do in order to do $1 million. And my mind's already going. I'm like, oh. And so you fast forward. I'm like, you know what? We're going to sit here, and then I'm going to keep this card in my wallet until I hit 6 figures. And then I'm going to come back, and then I'm going to scratch it out, and I'm going to do my next goal. And I'm going to keep this in my wallet forever until I die. That's my goal.
Yeah.
And so I still have the card to this day, and every single time I scratch that number off, it's like an alleviating feeling. But now it's like, okay, on to the next one. You know, job ain't finished, like my boy Kobe said. And the reason why I bring that up though is because every individual who's in sales, I don't care what type of sales, entrepreneurship, the goal I think of sales should be to your first number one goal should be to hit 6 figures, and then from there you should try to scale every single year. And if you haven't hit that, you should network with an individual or expand your network to individuals who are already doing that. So that way your mindset can kind of shift, because when you're looking at videos every single day of people talking about $1 million, 2 million, $1 billion, and you hear the numbers that you're speaking about yourself, you're like, oh, I'm just talking about $5,000, $10,000. How are these people talking about 50, 100, $1 million, 2 million? It makes your numbers seem so small that it drives you and motivates you to be able to accomplish even more than what you're thinking about. So if you dream to the moon and you make it to the sky, like you made it a lot farther than what you originally were planning to make it. So that's why I tell people in these moments, that card, it's super, super important to expand your network and being able to expand your mindset to individuals who want to take over the world. And that's why I'm appreciative that you brought up having a network of hungry individuals to be able to grow. But how important is that in your growth and being able to expand your business? How important was your network? How important were the people that you surround yourself with in your growth?
Yeah, no, that's a great factor right here. So basically, you know, it's a humbling experience when you surround yourself with very, very successful people, and that's probably the biggest impact on a person in sales or a person that's a business owner. Is it feels good to be the one that's the most successful in the room. You know, a lot of egotistical kind of factors there. You know, it makes everyone feel good, but I actually thrive in the environments when like the environment that you're in, when everyone's more successful than you, because you're soaking up all of their information, and your ego is literally gone. And it's just like a humbling thing, and you get to just learn from other people. Now, I do like giving back to other people that are starting out their journeys and just giving them, you know, shed all the knowledge that I've received and that I've, you know, been given the opportunity to have. But then you also need to put yourself in situations where you're surrounded by people that are just 1 or 2 levels ahead of you, that just maybe have experienced a little bit more. Maybe they're a little bit older, a little bit more wise, and just soak that information and the knowledge in. And sometimes you can learn from their pitfalls. So instead of having to go through the same thing that's maybe set you back 2 to 3 months, you can learn from theirs to prevent that from happening to you. Doesn't always work. But by having these individuals that are very, very hungry, very motivated, that have gone through different things, you gotta be open. And you know, you can make 100,000, you make 500,000. But that doesn't mean that you can't stop. You don't want to stop learning.
Right.
And you can
100%.
learn from anyone. It doesn't have to be like, oh, super successful. You can learn someone that's not that successful. You can learn from
100%.
them too. Just being a sponge, and learning and never stop learning. And knowing that, like, the moment you realize that you don't know anything, that's the moment that you're in the right direction.
Yeah.
And so that's huge. That's really huge. And then having that and spreading the love to your team.
100%.
Your team is only as strong as the weakest player. So you got to, bring that team member, make them stronger, have everyone collaborate together. But yeah, I would say, like, being humble, and no matter how successful you are, always willing to learn. I love being surrounded by people that can shed knowledge. And if every day I can learn something like new, man, that's a good day. It's a really good day.
100%. It's funny that you say that, because when you're learning in things from, I wouldn't even say unsuccessful people. Like, for example, a monk, they have a different perspective of life on a different side of life, right?
Yeah.
There's different ways of learning, right? You're learning about the business side, like, oh, Ferraris, this stuff, fast life, always going.
Yeah.
But then you hear something from, like, a monk who's just like, I can sleep on the floor and I'm happy. I'm in a different level of peace. And it's like, what is the right move, right? Are you really happy, genuinely happy with the life that you build, even though you're going 1,000 miles an hour? You don't own your own time, and you're just going and trying to achieve more things every single day.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck, am I living my happy life? Is this what makes me happy? And then you seen this monk that's just he owns his time and he could do whatever he wants, and he's just living a free life. And that's where I think that the misconception is, like, work-life balance, right? Like, I do think that there is some sort of balance, because you have to figure out, tweak your own balance to what makes you happy, right? Like, how much of, I think everyone's balance is different, but how much of work and then your own personal life needs to correlate to where you have a certain level of happiness.
Yeah.
And for people to think that it's 100% work, that's like, I don't know how people could be genuinely happy when your whole life and everything is thrown at work. Like, for the rest of your life, if you tell me you want to work for the rest of your life and you want to die and just working, like, I don't foresee that. I see the hunger part. I see the driven. I work from 9 to 9 every single day. I can see that part, but I don't see that until the day that I die, which is why learning is going to be really important, and hearing exactly like you said, regrets. I love talking to 80-year-olds. I love talking to be like, hey, what did you regret in your life? What would you change? What are the moments? 9 times out of 10 people are going to tell you, I didn't spend enough time with my kids, or I didn't do this, or I didn't do that. And that's where you can kind of try to tailor your life to where other individuals might have made mistakes, and you could try to avoid it, right? Trying to do things that you might not want to experience in your own life. And I think one thing that, again, from networking from individuals and from hearing people in the industry, I think specifically in this industry, the one thing that I always hear is the mainstream media. Like, how do you not let it discourage you? And it can be very discouraging for loan officers, insurance agents, realtors to get into an industry where there's a lot of uncertainty in the market. You have no idea where everything's at. And when you go through the day-to-day, the one thing you always hear on social media, news, is all this negativity within our industry. And so the first thing you think is, like, how can I be successful in a market that's so down and so negative, and everything about the news is negative about it? And I tell people all the time, the reason why I'm successful is because I don't listen to the news. I don't listen to anybody, positive or negative. I put my head down. I educate myself on where the market's at, so I know and I can have conversations about it. But it's not going to consume my business, right? I put my head down and I work as if the market's not the best, the worst, indifferent. I'm put my head down and I'm going to get to work as a 9 to 5 every single day. I'm coming into an office and I'm going to make sure that my team members know that I will be there no matter what, because the show doesn't go on without me. If I'm not there, the show ain't going on. So I need to make sure that I'm there every single day, because I got my family on my back. I got my team members on my back. I got everybody, my referral partners. I got everybody that's on my back, and I'm okay with that. I like the pressure. I want the pressure on me because that's the job I signed up for, and I'm okay with it. How did you overcome that pressure, though? Because I know that not everybody's built for it. Not everybody wants the pressure on their back. How did you overcome that to where you're a business owner, and regardless where you're on vacation, regardless of it's 8 o'clock at night and someone needs something for a CTC and I'm trying to call, hey, Mike, I need this right now, CTC. Or you're with your girl on a date, or you're wherever you might be. How did you overcome that pressure, or how are you trying to overcome that pressure to this day to be able to still keep your sanity, even though you're in a business that's 24/7, you got to continue to go no matter what?
Yeah, so it kind of loops in what you were saying about the work-life balance and, having that freedom or whatever it may be. at the end of the day, your job and your career, your passion should be able to like wake you up every morning and get you out of bed. So I don't think I'll ever retire, just because I enjoy what I do, and it gives me a reason to, to wake up and conquer the day. And so the moment that the pressure eases up or things get easy, that's when I step on the gas and I add more.
Yeah.
And sometimes, maybe I step on it a little too quick, and then you do feel like the weight, you have employees, those employees have mortgages. Those employees have families, they have kids, they have, they're putting, food on their tables. So you are leading a big operation. And so the moment that, things ease up and you think that you have it all figured out, you got to add a little bit more. And the reason why is because it gives you fire, it gives you passion to keep going and keep moving. I'll take a week, a working vacation is what I like to call it, just to get a change of environment. Kind of frees up my headspace. I'll still work, but in a different location. Just really opens up my mind, gives me a different type of energy. And I'll work from there, and then when I come back, I even bring back more energy to the team, and they all feel it, and we take it to the next level again. So, you take a little bit of a change of environment, ease that pressure for a little bit, saying, hey, nothing's set in stone. Everything is kind of temporary. I know there's that quote that says, success is rented. It's not owned. So, it's an on and off type of situation, and you gotta keep putting on the gas, man.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, so
literally.
So yeah, the pressure. Yeah, sometimes you can overload yourself. You might get a little sore, the next couple of days, but you get stronger from it, and then you're able to handle more the next time. And you also want to make sure that your mental health is good. So maybe if you go 3 days in a row, 12-hour work days, maybe doing a 6-hour work day the fourth day, that's going to be okay, man. It's not the end of the world. Doing a 6-hour day instead of going back to back 12s. And if that's what your body needs and that's what your mental set can handle, then man, you got to listen to yourself and what drives you. But the moment that I take that 6-hour day instead of that 12, I know that the following day I'm back going hard again the next day. So it's all about, like you said, that work-life balance, making sure that you're able to keep doing what you're doing at 100%.
That's good, bro. And then I guess one thing that I've been asking a lot of people is if you had to go back in time and and have a conversation with yourself, the younger version of yourself, what is the first piece of advice you would give the younger version of yourself based on all the stuff that you learned thus far?
Yeah, that's a really good question, man. I would say that don't stress about the far future. Like how you said your goal was 100,000. Don't make it 1 million. Don't make it 2 million. Make it 100,000. Make it 75,000. Don't try to set these huge expectations for yourself. Like, set it small. Set the bar small. You achieve that, and then bump it up, bump it up, bump it up. Don't overwhelm yourself, because they say it's like, I'm an analytical person, analysis paralysis, and then you end up thinking about all these ideas and then do nothing.
Yeah.
And I was having that problem. I saw like especially on social media, you see this person's getting successful over here, this person's getting successful over here, and you want to be an overnight success. And I remember when I first started, and I was making very little amount when I first started my career at Country. I started doing stocks on the side, doing some options, and I would have a lot of success, but then I would have bad days, and it was just like a roller coaster ride. I was trying to do Country Financial. My production was kind of mediocre. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to go all in on Country. I'm going to go all in on this business. It's going to take years to develop, but I'm going to keep it going. And that's when I started seeing results. So, my advice to people and my advice to my younger self is to stay with one thing and become the best at that one thing. And once you're done with that, then you can try to help and add team members to accomplish what you're accomplishing, show them the skills, teach them the skills, and that way you can really take the team to the next level. So I would say start small with your goals. Don't get overwhelmed by all this fluff that you see on social media. Stay with one thing, have it a small goal, and then keep inching yourself higher and higher and higher.
I agree. I think that's actually really, really important for individuals to listen to, because in the beginning of your business, right, there's so many things thrown at you. When I first got into business, they told me, cold call realtors, do this, that. And the first thing I'm like, I'm not good at any of the shit you guys just told me. And I know I'm not. I first 10 phone calls, people hanging up on me, telling me shut the fuck up, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not good at this. So let me see if I can do something else. And so I can kind of see social media. I don't see anybody on social media, so I'm like, let me try playing around with social media, and that kind of grew. And then little by little, let me start doing a little bit more in person, and that grew. Let me start doing this, that grew. So I was all in on real estate from day one, and that's what helped me scale, grow, because it was just like boom, boom, boom. Next, grow on this, grow on this, grow on this. And overall, when you're looking to grow and scale your business, that's all you want to do is get really, really good at one sector of your business, then get really, really good at another sector of your business. And it's like a tree. You want to get branches out to be able to get more leads in different avenues: Google, social media, in-person events, referral partners. You want to get as many branches as you possibly can, so that way at some point it almost becomes residual. You have a bunch of tree branches that are feeding your business, and now at a certain point you're getting leads from a bunch of different directions, so you don't have to depend on one thing or the other. And that's the best piece of advice, because now you start growing your business to where it becomes self-sufficient. Now you might dabble and get to a point where you want to grow and scale more team members, right? Like the first thing I always thought about is like, okay, I'm in this business, I'm doing well. All right, let me start trying to do flips, right? Like, or let me start trying to do this. And ultimately, sometimes that's the beginning of the end, right? Like you're trying to dabble in too many different areas. You're trying to make money in a bunch of different ways, and it all falls. The first thing you should do is focus on making your business self-sufficient. Building team members, allowing them to grow, allowing them to scale. We're very young, and for other individuals who are young, even older though, you want to get it to the point where it is self-sufficient, so that way you can get to a point, you alleviate time, and your team members can handle majority of the things that you do on a day-to-day. And once you have that time and capital to be able to extend yourself in different directions, I think that's the time where you start dabbling things within the career that you know, though.
Yeah.
Like I know real estate, so I'm gonna start dabbling in real estate. I don't know stock options. I don't know I don't know how day traders do it on a daily basis, which is why I wouldn't do it. Right? I would do something safe, like put it in a mutual fund, put it in something there, and let it ride and let it sit. But ultimately, I think that people like me, I'm a culprit. I'll be the first one to tell you, like, I have ADHD. I'm already like, one day I'm like, okay, maybe I should buy a building right now, and I go do that, or maybe I'll go do this. My mind just goes 10 different places in a matter of 10 minutes, and then it's almost like I have a conversation with myself. I'm kind of weird. I go back and I'm like, relax. Let's just keep growing the business, keep scaling, and then you'll know when it's time to deviate to something else. You know?
And how you're able to grow as fast as you were is sticking with that one thing, and then your network is huge. Like we went back on that, and to be honest with you, that's how I like kind of met you. Is I was in the office when I first started, and I was dabbling with too many things, and then I decided, okay, I'm gonna start cold calling this and that, and I was on social media a little bit, and someone came in, another agent was like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "I'm working, I'm working 9 to 5, And he's like, "Man, why are you here? Like you're supposed to be out."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh, what do you mean?" He's like, "Dude, you got to network, man. You have to go get business. You're not gonna get business from the office."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Oh snap! Like I gotta get moving.
Time to get to work."
Yeah, time to get work. So like I started going into like strip malls, just giving out my business cards, getting people just introducing myself in the community. And I started doing that. Then I started dabbling. I look up open houses, and I would just start walking into open houses, almost like I'm buying, like I'm looking to buy, but like I'm just trying to meet some realtors.
Right.
And then I ended up meeting this one realtor, really nice lady. She's honestly still killing it to this day.
Yeah.
And she ended up partnering up with me. I added her on social media. And next thing you know, like a week or two later, I see her closing, and it's like, "Oh, with Mr. Cafecito." I said, "Oh, who is this guy? He's closing like left and right." So I ended up friend requesting you, and then I think it was really early in your career. You were just like on social media right away.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. The power of the networking, and you can network with people at different networking events. You might hit 50 to 100 people at that event. But if you throw that on social media that you're at that event, now you're reaching thousands.
Right.
So it's like that impact of going to that event and then throwing it on social media, it's huge.
Yeah.
So I ended up reaching out to you, and I think I called you like 3 or 4 times. And then you're like, "Man, I like the dedication. That's what it's all about." So we ended up meeting for breakfast or something, and then dude, it was really early in our career, and that was like 4 years ago, 5 years ago
bro,
now.
It's fucking crazy even think about 4 or 5 years, bro.
It's wild, but like the networking is huge. Branching off, like you said, and man, it's in the social media is a lot of people are like, oh, like social media, like I don't like, that's not how it is. Like a lot of the old timer, old school, hey, I understand that it didn't work for you or it wasn't around when you were successful, but you got to adjust with time,
Yeah.
and utilize the resources that are out. And man, you can see the new wave of people coming into this business. And some of the top producers are all using social media and creating good content in the real estate community to really scale their business and get and reach people that would have never been knowing what kind of business or that they even were in the business. So it's really good what you were doing, and
Appreciate it, bro.
and yeah, man, it's cool to see the evolution, because we started off just doing some random day-to-day stuff, and now we're really being able to pack in educational content to the broad community. Maybe you're not shopping around right now, but maybe you're shopping around in 2 years, getting prepared to buy your first home. People that thought 20% down was the norm. I was actually one of those guys. I was like, 20% down. I waited a year or 2 years to buy when it's 5%, 3.5%, depending on the program.
Right.
And so now being able to have that educational content reach so many people that are just uneducated. They don't teach that in school, man.
Right.
They don't really do that. That's why like the education that we're shedding on people is very impactful to young adults and people that are trying to get into ownership of a home.
I love it, man. I love it. You're 100% right. And the last question, I want to wrap it up with everything for everybody to kind of know, what is your goals coming up in the next couple of years? How much do you want to expand? Do you want to increase production, team members? What is it exactly that you're looking to do?
Yeah, no, I'm trying to, basically what I've learned is you can only put in, you only have so much time in the day, 12 hours if you're grinding heavy. But after that, you start to hit that peak, that wall. So now it's like, talking to the 18 to 20-year-olds that, maybe you're not going to college, maybe you've already graduated college, realize it's not for you, trying to teach them the skills to be able to scale any type of business, whether you're a realtor, loan officer, insurance guy, whatever you want to do, be able to scale their business, or maybe bring them on the team to teach them that skill set, because a lot of it is personality. You need to have the driven individuals that are just so motivated. You can't teach that, but you can teach the skill set to get you to where you're at today, and now bring that to them, and just keep it going, keep the wheelhouse going, and that's the next goal.
There you go, bro. That's the main goal. I think the true path to success is how many individuals that you can create being great leaders. Like if you create a bunch of great leaders, that's the true definition of success, because you're making the world better. Leader by leader, that you help grow not only yourself, but everybody else around you, your kids, your team members, your family. If you can help them grow and scale to become great people in the world, there's not much more success that you can ask for. So I appreciate you, bro. As always, man, it's been a pleasure to kind of touch base and circle back. For everybody watching, I hope you guys made sure you take notes. And make sure that if you have not already, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your post notifications. But Mike, it's a pleasure sitting with you, man.
Dude, always a pleasure, man. Thanks for having me again.
Of course, bro.